200 miles off the Louisiana coast, a drill ship burns $500,000 a day to punch a hole through 10,000 feet of salt water and sediment. The man standing on that deck with a mud sack on his shoulder earns $22 an hour. One of those rigs was called Deepwater Horizon, and 11 men died the night it burned. This is every level of the ladder that feeds the world its oil, and every one of them is a trade. If you like breakdowns of how careers actually progress, like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Level 1. The Roustabout. You're 22 years old, riding a Billy Pugh basket 100 feet over open ocean onto the drill deck. Your day rate is $280, which works out to $22 an hour on a 12-hour shift. The rig you're standing on burns $500,000 a day, and the driller calls you Worm. He won't learn your name for 6 weeks. You work 14 on and 14 off. 2 tours a day, 6 to 6, no weekends. The steel deck hits 100 degrees in August, and you chip paint, pressure wash, sling a load the wrong way, and the crane operator curses you for it. Every sack of mud you carry weighs 100 pounds, and there are 400 of them on the supply boat. You are a runner, a gopher, a pair of hands. Before you boarded, you paid for rig pass, BOSIET, HUET, and an offshore medical, about $1,600 out of pocket. Every morning at 5:45, you sit through a safety meeting before a shackle falls from the derrick on hitch 4 and lands 6 feet from your boot. The foreman says, "That's why you don't stop moving." You sleep in a bunk the size of a coffin, eat 4 meals a day in the galley with crawfish on Friday, and call your wife on a satellite line that cuts out every 9 minutes. By the end of your first year, you've banked $40,000. The helicopter home is a 2-hour flight, and you don't forget that Cougar Flight 491 went down off Newfoundland in 2009. 17 workers died on the way home. Half the worms quit after the first hitch. You didn't quit. And at 18 months, the driller points at you and says, "Get on the floor." Level 2. The Floorhand. 2 years in, you're 24, and the driller now calls you by name. Your day rate jumps to $450, which is $65,000 a year base, $80 with overtime. The drill floor is loud, hot, and wet with mud, 105 decibels, and you lose hearing every hitch. You set slips, swing tongs, work the iron roughneck, and a connection takes your crew under 3 minutes. The Toolpusher tracks your times on a whiteboard, and on a bit change you trip pipe for 16 straight hours. 220 stands out, 220 back in. You eat granola bars while the slips are being set, and the iron roughneck cycles in under a minute. Old hands call it the job thief, because it replaced 2 men. They call the rotary table the bear trap, because of what it used to do to floor hands. On hitch 9, you see your first kick, the pit volume alarm screams as flow-out passes flow in. Everyone on the floor freezes for half a second. The driller picks up off bottom, stops rotary, stops pumps, and shuts in the well in 15 seconds, textbook. The company man pulls out a kill sheet, columns of numbers, and runs the post-mortem an hour later. You learn what 1940 pounds of shut-in pressure looks like, and what happens when a crew talks themselves out of that reading. Their names are on a bronze plaque now. 11 names you don't forget. You keep a notebook now, every shift handover, every mud weight. You pass the IWCF Level 2 Well Control certification, and your bonus for the year is $12,000. At year 4, the driller taps you on the shoulder and says, "Time for you to go up." Level 3. The Derrickhand. You're 27, 180 pounds, and your office is a platform 90 feet above the drill floor. It's called the monkey board. Your day rate is $680, which adds up to $125,000 a year if you work every hitch. The job has 2 halves: mud system on deck, derrick when you trip pipe. Downstairs you run shale shakers, desanders, desilters, and centrifuges, keeping mud flowing clean through 6 pits. You track mud weight in pounds per gallon, 9.5 to 17, depending on depth. Pounds per gallon times 0.052 times true vertical depth gives you hydrostatic pressure in the wellbore. Equivalent circulating density is the number you don't let creep, because above fracture gradient the formation breaks, and everyone on the rig loses their bonus. Lost circulation material costs $30,000 a load. On a trip, you harness up and go up the derrick, clipping 2 lanyards into the stabbing board every time. You stand 90 feet over a moving drill floor, guiding 1,500-pound stance into the fingerboard, and you do this for an entire 12-hour tour. The drill ship heaves 6 feet under your boots in swell. Rain, sleet, 25-knot wind, and you don't come down. You urinate in a bottle, because climbing down means the driller is screaming at you for slowing the trip. There is one escape from the monkey board, a single steel cable called the Geronimo line, running to a sandbox below. Every Derrickhand rides it exactly once. First ride you puke, second ride you laugh. Nobody wants a third ride, because a third ride means the rig is on fire. A Derrickhand in the North Sea fell from the monkey board in 2005, and the IADC safety bulletin is still pinned on your doghouse wall. Move from a jackup to a drill ship and your day rate climbs $150. The mud engineer weighs the sample once, you weigh it twice. Once for the report, once for the truth. You bag cuttings samples every 30 feet of drilled depth and walk them to the mud lab for the engineer to nod or shake his head. You pass the IWCF Level 3 Well Control Certification, the gate to assistant driller. You spend a year sitting second chair beside the driller, until at year 7 the Toolpusher calls you into the doghouse and says, "We need you in the chair." Level 4. The driller. You're 35, and you sit in the chair. Your day rate is $1,100, $200,000 a year as driller of record. 8 screens surround you, 2 joysticks in your hands, 1 for rotary, 1 for draw works. Weight on bit, rotary torque, standpipe pressure, flow in, flow out, pit volume, and 6 men under you on the floor. You sign the IADC daily report. On a sour well at 22,000 feet, you get a kick, flow out starts gaining on flow in, and the pit gauge ticks up. 12 barrels, 15, 18. You have 5 seconds to react. You pick up off bottom, stop rotary, stop pumps, and run a flow check. The well is still feeding. You close the annular, close the choke, and read 1100 on the drill pipe, 1500 on the casing. You wake the Toolpusher at 3 a.m. Kill mud weight equals original weight plus shut-in over 0.052 times depth. You run driller's method, 2 circulations, gas to the surface. You watch the flare boom light up the night. 3 hours later, the well is under control, and your hands shake on the coffee cup. You remember the rig on April 20th, 2010. 9 drill crew died that night, driller and Toolpusher among them. They read 1400 psi on the drill pipe and let themselves be convinced it was nothing. That's not you. Not tonight. Your IWCF Level 3 drilling certification is current. You run kick drills every month, and every man knows his station. The rig has 200 gas detectors, and you know where each one is. At year 12, your Toolpusher retires, and they hand you the whiteboard marker. Level 5. The Toolpusher. You're 43, and your name is now Mr. Your day rate is $1,700, $310,000 a year on a 28-28 rotation. You have a small office next to the OIM, 2 chairs and a coffee pot. You run the drilling operation 24 hours a day. Every morning at 6 sharp you chair the safety meeting, then spend the next hour tracking spread cost, mud cost, cement cost, rental cost. 2 drillers report to you, 2 assistant drillers, 2 Derrickhands, and 6 floorhands. Every 14 days, you run a BOP test, high pressure to 15,000 psi, 5 minutes hold. BSEE requires 72 hours notice, and the inspector flies out to witness. You co-sign the chart with the company man and the subsea engineer. The company man works for the operator, you work for the contractor. He's renting the rig at $500,000 a day, and you're selling it to him. On a healthy rig, you're in daily alignment, and on a bad rig, you scream at each other in the morning meeting. The art is pushing back on the unsafe ask without losing the contract. You sign every permit to work, hot work, confined space, working at height. You sign every lockout and tagout before maintenance opens a line. Every Sunday at 1300 you run a pit drill, and every month you run a kick drill, unannounced. Your IWCF Level 4 Supervisor certification is current, and your whiteboard tracks connection times by crew. Your crew follows you from rig to rig, and fleet reputation is tribal. The first question on every transfer is, who's your pusher? The deepwater market is hot, And a drillship crew manager calls from Houston, same day rate, 12,000 foot water, 28 rotation. You say yes without a pause. The next level is the man with the final word on the rig, not the driller, not you, him. You knock on his office door. Level 6. The OIM, Offshore Installation Manager, 52 years old. Your day rate is $2,200, $400,000 a year on a drillship. You are the final authority on the installation. Every person on board and within the 500-meter zone is your responsibility. In the UK, you are a statutory officer, registered with the HSE. Your certifications include OIM COC, MEMIR, BOSIET, and an offshore medical. Your office has a window on the weather deck and a video feed from every camera. Every morning, you brief the Toolpusher, the company man, the master, and the subsea engineer. You walk the rig twice a day, bridge, moon pool, engine room, galley, and you know every man on board by name, all 140 of them. You sign the daily report. Every day, every consequence. Hurricane season arrives, and a Category 4 is tracking into the Gulf. At 72 hours out, you evacuate non-essentials. At 48, you circulate kill-weight mud and shut in the drill floor. And at 24, you reduce to skeleton crew. Dynamic positioning rigs don't run home, you sail out of the cone. You stay aboard, the master stays aboard, 10 essential crew stay aboard. You ride the storm at the edge of the cone. 30-foot waves pound the hull for 18 hours, and you check in with Houston every 2 hours. Piper Alpha is on the wall of your office. 167 dead, July 6, 1988. The OIM that night never gave the order to evacuate. The Cullen Inquiry interviewed every survivor, and those 106 recommendations rewrote the industry. When your order comes, it will be the right one.